good evening. You're watching RayyanTV News. I'm RayyanAhmed. Tonight, we begin with a harrowing tragedy out of BENUE State, where one of the deadliest attacks in recent memory has left dozens of families shattered, communities decimated, and a nation once again crying for justice. In the quiet border town of Yellowwater in Guma local government area, more than 100 lives were extinguished in a wave of coordinated violence that spanned Friday night into the early hours of Saturday. Armed assailants stormed the settlement, home to hundreds of displaced persons, setting shelters ablaze, shooting indiscriminately, and butchering entire families in their sleep. Among the victims was the entire family of Tsegba Bamewa, who had sought refuge in Yellowwater after fleeing violence in Nasarawa State. He returned home to find his wife and 4 children burned to death inside a market stall where they were sleeping. "My family was my only hope," Ewa told RayyanTV. "Now, I have nothing." Former senior aide to ex-governor Samuel Ortom, Prince Eondona Isoka Onguga, recounted the heartbreaking loss of 23 family members, most of them maternal relatives. He told RayyanTV that 2 of his cousins were among those killed, including a bright young student preparing for university and a pharmacist who had big dreams for the future. "They didn't just kill people," he said. "They destroyed generations." Another survivor, Mama Victoria Tayabi, described a terrifying escape as gunmen opened fire just outside her home around midnight. Though she escaped, 3 of her relatives were not as lucky. Community leaders and witnesses estimate the death toll could be far higher than official numbers. Some bodies were burned beyond recognition. One local official, Matthew Nyan, stated bluntly, "Children had their throats slit. Toddlers were slaughtered like animals." According to eyewitnesses, the attackers launched a coordinated assault from multiple directions, overwhelming local defenders and security forces. Makeshift shelters and stores were doused in petrol and set alight, trapping those inside. Most of the victims were internally displaced persons, IDPs, from surrounding villages like Ansa, Duka, Kadako, Udi, and Giza, who believed Yellowwater was safe due to its proximity to military checkpoints. Tragically, Yellowwater was not the only target that night. Just 20 minutes away, in the town of Daudu, a separate ambush left 3 security personnel dead, including a captain of the Nigerian Army and 1 civil defense officer. Another police officer remains missing. Local residents say it could have been far worse if not for the swift response of youth vigilantes and troops under Operation War Stroke, who repelled part of the attack. But the cost was high. Chairman of Guma LGA, Maurice Owo, confirmed the incidents, stating that at least 26 victims remain hospitalized. The state special advisor on security, Chief Joseph Ha, also confirmed the dual attacks but said full casualty figures are still being compiled. Meanwhile, the BENUE State Police Command reported that tactical teams have been deployed and some of the attackers were neutralized. Police spokesperson DSP Udim Edet vowed, "We are pursuing the perpetrators relentlessly." Tonight, a nation mourns. The people of BENUE, already displaced, vulnerable, and largely forgotten, now carry a deeper wound. Entire families have vanished. Young dreams lie buried under ashes. And once again, the questions return: when will this end? Who will protect the forgotten? This is not just a statistic. These are real people. Their stories must not be lost. Welcome back. I'm RayyanAhmed once again. A community has been left shattered as over 107 people, including entire families, were brutally killed in an overnight assault on the Yellowwater community in Guma local government area. Among the victims, 1 man lost 23 members of his extended family, while another buried his wife and 4 children, burned alive as they sought refuge. But as the shock settles, outrage has erupted into protest. In Daudu, and later in Makodi, protests flared on Saturday and intensified by Sunday morning. Youths and civil groups poured into the streets, blocking major roads, including the Lefia-Makodi Highway and the Wurakam roundabout, demanding justice and accountability. Despite a heavy security presence, including police, the army, civil defense, and NDLEA, demonstrators stood their ground until police fired tear gas to disperse the growing crowd, creating momentary chaos and panic across the city. But the calls for justice only grew louder. The demonstrations continued at George Akyum Road and Jaedo Villa, gaining momentum. Prominent activist #VeryDarkMan joined the protesters, amplifying the demands for justice and lasting peace in Benue State. At the protest scene, Benue State Commissioner of Police, Ifeanyi Emonori, addressed the crowd, confirming that special forces deployed by the Inspector General of Police had begun operations. "We are in control of the situation," he said. "Some arrests have already been made, and more reinforcements are en route to Benue State." Meanwhile, Governor Hyacinth Olia has condemned the killings, describing them as unjustifiable acts of terror. In a statement delivered through his chief press secretary, the governor assured residents that his administration is working closely with federal security agencies and traditional rulers to end the bloodshed. His deputy, Barrister Sam Ode, visited Yellowater to deliver this message of solidarity and hope. Following the attacks, the Benue State Emergency Management Agency swiftly relocated survivors to an emergency shelter at the Makurdi International Market. SEMA Executive Secretary James Iopu, who led the evacuation, was joined by state officials and humanitarian groups including the UNHCR. "It is with a heavy heart that I welcome you to this emergency camp," Iopu said to the displaced. "We are here to stand with you in your darkest hour." Describing the attacks as barbaric and unacceptable, Major General Moses Gara, commander of Operation War Stroke, visited the crisis zones in Yellowater, Daudu, and I, reaffirming the military's commitment to crush the insurgents. "We are not here to observe, we are here to act," said the commander. "We will pursue the killers and bring justice to every family affected." He announced a fresh operational strategy and deployment of additional troops, backed by improved intelligence gathering and tighter community engagement. Community leaders, including Iokia Emmanuel, expressed cautious optimism, pledging support for the military and urging a permanent security presence in vulnerable rural areas. "We believe in the renewed promise of security, but we need it sustained," he said. From the corridors of power to global platforms, the Yellowater massacre has sparked widespread condemnation. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has directed intelligence and security chiefs to take swift action, describing the killings as inhuman and anti-progress. "This is a national emergency," said former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, calling for an immediate investigation into the crisis. Former Senate President Bukola Saraki echoed the sentiment, expressing heartbreak over the fact that many of the victims were already displaced persons living in IDP camps. Security experts warned that a lasting solution would take more than military force. John Noah, a retired DSS senior officer, emphasized the role of traditional institutions and youth engagement at the grassroots level. "If local leaders are empowered to monitor and mobilize, insecurity can be tackled before it explodes," he said. As the sun sets on another painful day in Benue State, one thing is clear: the people demand justice, protection, and peace. We will continue to monitor this story and bring you updates as events unfold. Stay with us. You're watching Rayyan TV. Good night. I'm Rayyan Ahmed. May the souls of the victims rest in peace.